We're looking at two kanji in this video tutorial, the kanji meaning to enter and the kanji meaning to exit. This is what the enter kanji looks like in its printed form, but when we handwrite it, we don't use the little cross stroke at the top of the kanji. I don't need to actually show you the ancient form of this kanji because it's virtually the same as the modern kanji. It depicts an open door or an entrance. Some experts say that it's the entrance to a tent. And this version certainly helps with remembering the shape of this kanji. Now this kanji has two strokes. It follows the usual pattern, going from left to right. So we start with the left-hand stroke, and then the right-hand stroke starts slightly above and goes down like this. When we're writing by hand, we don't need to put that top bit on. Now the problem with this kanji for both native and non-native speakers is that it looks very, very similar to the kanji meaning person. Now the enter kanji has a small stroke on the left-hand side and a longer stroke on the right-hand side, whereas the kanji for person has the long stroke on the left-hand side and the short stroke on the right-hand side. When the kanji for enter is printed, the small addition up the top here alerts the reader to the fact that this is the enter kanji and not the person kanji. Here is how we use that kanji to write the verb to enter, hairimasu in the must form, or hairu in the plain form. And here we have a typical sentence using the verb to enter. Sensei wa kyōshitsu ni hairimashita. The teacher entered the classroom. Next, we're going to have a look at the kanji meaning to exit. I'm going to show you the ancient form here because it's a little different to the modern form, but you can quite clearly see on the top there's an object. That's a pictograph of a foot, and underneath is a container or an enclosure. Now this pictograph shows a foot leaving an enclosure. In other words, to exit or to leave. This is the kanji in its modern form. The top half is the foot and the bottom half is the enclosure. But you might notice that it looks very similar to a mountain on top of another mountain. And I use that little children's song, 5 little ducks went out one day over the hills and far away. So I remember going out as being the 2 hills, and the stroke order goes like this. Down in the middle, first mountain on top, down and across, down on the right, or if you want to be true to the original story, that's the foot. And the second mountain, or according to the original pictograph, the enclosure, again we draw down on the left, across without taking our pen off the paper, and down on the right. And there we have the kanji meaning to exit. The whole verb looks like this. In the must form, it's demasu, and in the plain form, it's deru. And a typical sentence would be, Sensei wa kyōshitsu o demashita. The teacher exited the classroom. Notice that the usual particle to use with demashita about the place that you're leaving is object particle o. And that's to enter and to exit.